Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. Welcome everybody. This is an IELTS reading class for the IELTS reading section, and we're going to be reading about the Man of War. This lesson materials, this reading passage is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that have all of our materials. They power these live classes. If you're enjoying these live classes, it's a very good idea to join these websites so you can maximize your learning during these live classes and of course after and before the live classes. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background at aehelp.com. Today's reading passage is coming from this website, and you can join the website by clicking the big red button that's just above my head there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Everybody, we are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. I'm a British Council agent. You are in great hands with us. We help thousands of students every month succeed on their IELTS exams. So join our IELTS community today. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. It's the green background again. You can click this big red button there and begin studying effectively. Welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. Hi Angel. Welcome Nat. Welcome Fwong. Everybody, this is a members chat class, so if you'd like to join the chat, you need to be a channel member. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. There's lots of learning to be had. We will have a subscribers chat class after this one in about 2 hours for the listening section. Again, everybody, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, and you can use this code 14 days to get a 10% discount. Of course, on the websites, we're always trying to give a little extra help in these live classes. Students, you can buy the courses through YouTube as well. Many of you, maybe most of you, will see that the course is there in Shopify through YouTube. Also, we have got lots of great information for the IELTS reading section. Here is a great blog for reading tips for true, false, not given, list of headings, lots of other question types. Check out that blog when you have a moment. Instagram is IELTS_AEhelp and gieltshelp. Email is adrian@aehelp.com and admin@aehelp.com. You can check that out. As I said, we've got reading right now, followed by listening. Tomorrow we'll have a speaking part 2 for members and speaking part 3 where everybody will be able to join the chat. We released a new video for students to show you what you should be thinking about when you need an IELTS exam in 2 weeks and 14 days. Check out that video. I just put that into the chat there for you. All right, reading tips. Let's do this. So today's reading passage looks like this. Physalia physalis. And then we have this interesting picture here beside the title. Now, if this seems strange, you're like, what? Don't panic. That's a good reaction. This is definitely a what title and picture. This is passage 3. Reading passage 3 in the IELTS exam, especially for the academic, but also for section 3 in the general, is usually the most challenging. And the topic can be challenging for anybody, native English speaker or non-native English speaker. Okay. One really important tip to remember right away, everyone, is passage 3 is testing for a band 7, 8, 9. Okay, keep this in mind. So passage 3 is often testing the band 7 to 9 levels. which means it's testing to see if you can understand new information or even new English from context. Okay. So again, it's kind of like university, right? So when you go to university and you start your major, you have to do about 150 pages of reading every week. That's average, okay? You should know that. That's for a bachelor's, of course. Okay. Thank you, Simon. I see you just made a super chat donation of £2. That's really cool. Thank you. All right, so average reading material is 150 pages per week for full-time university students in a bachelor's program. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, now, of course, in university and often when you get a new job as well, you have to read new information, right? So this is the logic behind IELTS section 3 or passage 3 is, you know, if you need a band 7, which is good English, or a band 8, very good English, band 9, expert English, you should be able to understand new information that you're reading, okay? All right. Keep that in mind, all right? So, of course, that means when you get to this passage and you see this kind of a strange picture and title, don't freak out. Don't be like, I've never seen this before. That's totally normal, okay? That's totally normal. And if you see lots of new words, that's totally normal too, okay? The first tip that you need to apply this, okay? The first tip for challenging reading passages is use what you know. Okay, so you need to use what you know. Here, Physalia physalis, I have no idea what that is, so let's just forget about it, right? But we do have this little picture, and IELTS tries to, you know, help you a little bit, right? So you've got this little picture here, and this picture will help you a bit because you can kind of tell that this is some kind of a creature or organism, right? And it definitely looks like this organism is in water. Okay, what does this look like to you, members? So what does this little organism look like that it's introducing here? Okay, what do you think? So you've got this little picture, looks very cute. Anita says it looks like a ship with fans, rads. Okay, Ghazi says it looks like a jellyfish. Fong looks like says it looks like a jellyfish too. Yeah, it does. It kind of looks like a jellyfish, right? So use what you know. Okay, so it looks like a jellyfish. Okay, now use your logic. If you wrote an IELTS reading passage about a jellyfish, what would you write about? Okay, so think logically. Logic will help you a lot in the IELTS and in the reading section. Here's a really weird tip. You got to be careful with it, but it's true. With very good logic, you can almost answer half of the questions in the reading passage without even reading. Okay, so the example here is this looks like a jellyfish. Okay. So here now what you should be thinking is, if I wrote a passage on jellyfish, what would I write about? And the reason you're asking this is because when you're thinking about this, it will make it a lot easier to understand or interpret the information. Okay, so Anahita says it's diet. Anahita, remember, don't overcomplicate your language, right? So diet, for example, what does it eat, right? It's reproductive cycle, yep. Reproduction, Absolutely. Could be interesting. Okay. Its habitat, Fuang. Very good. Where does it live? Right? Okay. Its characteristics, right? Physiology. Its behaviors. Okay, so what does it do? And absolutely, that makes sense. And you're probably right. This reading passage probably has a lot of information on those ideas, right? So when you're reading about an animal or a creature in the IELTS exam, it's very likely that they will discuss their diet, maybe their reproduction, their habitat, where they live, their physiology, their behaviors. And also always remember this one. This is kind of an interesting one. People tend to forget, ironically. Its impact or interest for people, right? Remember, everybody, humans love themselves, okay? We're extremely narcissistic generally as a species. We love ourselves. So we're often, if not always, asking the question, why do I care? How does this affect me? Is it poisonous for me? Does it kill me? Can I eat it? Okay. Will it help heal me? Can I use it for medicine? Is it a nice decoration? Could I put it on my head? Can this jellyfish sit on my head as a hat? And people will think I'm super good looking. Hey, look at your jellyfish hat. That looks awesome. Is that a man of war? It is. I got it from Versace. Ooh, how much? A lot. Don't even ask. Right? So we're human. We think it's all there for us. That's kind of our innate nature. Okay? So always consider that. How does it impact humans? What is the importance for humans, right? Okay. Always think about that when you're using logic. Okay, this is an interesting tip, but be careful with it. Okay. So logic can often answer about 50% of questions in the IELTS reading without even reading the passage. Now, does this mean don't read the passage and just answer the half of the questions? No, please don't do that. But it is a good idea to keep in mind that you don't need to feel lost, you don't need to panic, you don't need to freak out, okay? I've seen many, many, many IELTS exams, and I can say with confidence that about half of those questions I was able to figure out without even reading the passage, just using my knowledge and thinking critically of the answer, okay? All right, but you should read the passage, okay? So for Band 7, Band 8, Band 9 students, you need to read the passage. Why? Well, because half of the answers you definitely need the passage for, right? And half is not enough for a Band 7, so you need to read the passage, okay? So here we have this passage followed by some questions. We can look at the questions before the passage, right? So choose no more than 2 words from the passage to answer. So these are short answers. We can just read these, try to get some information. This is all somewhere in the passage with more or less similar words, not the same words. It's going to be paraphrased. Okay, so 27, read with me, everybody. This is reading, so make sure you're reading with me. Don't just listen, because if you're only listening, then it turns into a listening exercise. This is a reading exercise, so read with me aloud. Okay, that means if you have the chance, actually read with your voice. So read with me aloud, everybody. Okay. All right, here we go. The Portuguese man of war's something acts as both as a defense and attack mechanism. Namias has a something to the man of war's attack. Okay. Namias is also a very competent something which helps keep it safe from the man of war. Although they initially look like a jellyfish, the man of war is really a something. Well, that's an interesting question. So if I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, okay, so they look like a jellyfish, But it says although, so they're not really a jellyfish. There's something else, but they do look like a jellyfish. So I'm thinking correctly. Even if you're like, oh no, it's not a jellyfish. No, 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 no. You're thinking correctly. It looks like a jellyfish. Even the author admits it, right? The role of the something is as a sexual organ. Nomius's ability to live around the poisonous something of the man of war is not fully understood. Ooh, poison. So interesting. Okay, and then we've got these complete the sentences. These ones, don't worry about the choices because we don't know which choices are correct. You don't need to read choices before the passage. Okay, so don't worry about it. Just look at the first half of this question, the questions themselves. These will give you a little bit of an idea of the passage. Go over these ones nice and fast. Don't stress on them too much. These are sometimes in the order of the passage, sometimes not. Not too much help here, but it's worth just skimming over them, okay? So the relationship between the two creatures is best described as, okay, I know there's two creatures at least. While the Nomius is resistant to the venom, something. The Nomius' swimming pattern, something. For the Nomius, man of war also serves as. Okay, all right. And then we've got multiple choice. The Nomius' main mechanism of defense. Okay, so these are those behaviors, right, that we talked about. So what the Nomius actually does. What does Nomius generally use to propel itself? Okay, so Nomius here is a new word. It's some other creature, I'm realizing. So there's two creatures here. There's this jellyfish and some other kind of animal. And then we have two yes, no, not given questions, 39 and 40. I don't worry about those because maybe they're both not given and then it's just confusing. So I don't worry about it. Okay, so I go back to the passage at this point. This is all happening very quickly. And then I read the passage. Okay, so those are the first strategies for your reading. Okay, so step one, look at the title and picture. Think critically. Think, what is this? Why is it important? And how does it work? Okay, so think about those. Then you go to your step two. And in step two, you look at the questions and review them. Do that quickly, okay? Don't spend a lot of time on that. Only information that is in the passage. Don't read multiple choice answers. It's a complete waste of time, okay? And then step three, read the passage, okay? And understand it. Visualize it as you read. So see it. Okay, you're swimming with the jellyfish. Be brave. Swim with the jellyfish. When I was in Costa Rica a while ago, I swam with the jellyfish and they stung me. Those Costa Rican jellyfish. I wasn't on purpose. I didn't see them until it was too late. But I was okay. It was almost therapeutic. All right, so then we read the passage. Now for the reading, everybody, so we're going to read the passage. We're going to understand the passage. We're going to do this as a team. Okay, studying the reading section together is really good. Okay. Bien, the next speaking section live classes will be tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow. All right. So let's do this. For the reading, again, this is our website. We use our website all the time for teaching and learning. You can join the website by clicking this big red button at aehelp.com. aehelp.com, okay? Or you can get it through YouTube by clicking the product icon there that you see, and get it through Shopify, okay? So once you're in the website, let's go to the My Student account. In the My Student account, you've got lots of goodies: computer-based practice exams, full online course that I showed you yesterday for the strategies for paraphrasing. We're bringing you this new feature in October where we're going to have live classes on the website exclusively as well. And then we have even materials for reading audio to help you. Okay, so we are maybe the only IELTS company that actually thinks, hey, it might be a good idea to have some British people reading these reading passages to help you improve your reading, right? So this is going to be CD3, and it's going to be track 7, right? Because there are 4 tracks for the listening section and then 3 passages. So let's get ready to read this together with this native British speaker, and follow with the reader, okay? Try to copy their intonation and their speed, and really work hard to copy their pronunciation as well, okay? If you miss some words, it's okay. It's just stay with it, okay? So here we go, everybody. Let's do this together. Let's read the passage, and then we'll go over it together in a bit more detail with our members. Here we go, everyone.
Physalia physalis. Physalia physalis, common name, Portuguese man of war, is a unique species of the class Hydrozoa. Several characteristics distinguish this species. The Physalia physalis is a free-floating communal polyp. Its powerful poison serves as defense and attack for the species. One type of fish, however, has developed a high level of immunity to this toxin, the Nomius gronvoi. The Nomius gronvoi is capable of withstanding injections of Physalia venom 10 times the normal strength of that which kills other fishes. Due to this resistance to the venom and exceptional swimming, the 2 organisms have evolved to form a commensal relationship with one another. Even though we apply the term commensalism to the symbiosis between these 2 animals, the nature of interaction is not exactly fitting of the term. As defined by Campbell and Rees, commensalism is when one organism receives benefits while neither harming nor helping the other in any significant way. Campbell and Rees, 2002. By looking closely at the behaviour, physiology and symbiosis between Physalia physalis and Nomius gronvoi, we find out the reason for this misleading terminology. The physiology of Physalia physalis is unique. At first glance, they appear to be jellyfish, but the Portuguese man of war is actually a polyp, or community of polyps belonging to the order Siphonophora, which gets its common name from its resemblance to an old Portuguese warship. The man of war floats with a gas-filled, blue to pink translucent body called a pneumatophore, a part of a single polyp. This crest-like pneumatophore, which may attain a length of 20 centimetres, acts as a sail and is aligned so that the colony sails at 45 degrees to the wind direction. Polyps connect tentacles which are located on the ventral surface of the float. There are 3 types of specialised polyps: dactylozoid, that find and catch prey with poisonous stingers called nematocysts, gonozoids, that reproduce, and gastrozoids, that digest the food like a stomach. These fishing tentacles, sometimes as long as 50 metres, hang down like a drift net, combing the water for prey. Nomius gronvoi are tropical fish belonging to the ray-finned fishes of the class Osteichthyes. The fins, supported by long flexible rays, are modified for manoeuvring, defence and other functions. The length of this fish at maturity is about 8 centimetres. The nature of the ability of Nomius to live among the venomous tentacles of Physalia has been likened to that of the relationship between sea anemones and anemone fishes. This immunity is not yet fully understood. The relationship between Physalia and Nomius is arguably harmful to both organisms. They mutually benefit from one another, but at the same time, the symbiosis can be quite damaging to both creatures. In this sense, the relationship could be better defined as one of mutualism and parasitism. In mutualism, both organisms benefit. In parasitism, one organism benefits at the expense of the host. When the Nomius is weak, it may no longer be able to withstand the venom of the nematocysts. In one study, a freshly expired Nomius was offered to the Physalia. The carcass was immediately stung, taken hold of by a dactylozooid, and brought up to the gastrozooids. The Nomius, although resilient to the toxin, is not 100% immune. In the same study, the live Nomius began to swim more erratically and move towards the carcass as the gastrozooids formed their characteristic bag and began to digest the fish. The live Nomius was then caught on the left side by one of the largest dactylozooids. This behaviour clearly indicates how the symbiosis may deviate from the definition provided by commensalism. On the other hand, the Nomius has two distinct gains from its innate behaviour with Physalia. As an experiment demonstrated, upon introduction, the Nomius initially swam near the surface and around the Physalia in a large circular pattern, in both clockwise and counterclockwise directions. This action protects the fish from attack. Most predatory fishes of Nomius therefore avoid the man-of-war or sustain serious injury and often death. Second, the Physalia provides a food source for the Nomius. In the mentioned experiment, about 15 minutes after the release, the Nomius swam closer to the Physalia, paused as if inspecting it, and then began to nip the edges of the gonozooids. Physalia is able to regenerate the tentacles, and so this ingestion is rarely fatal to the organism. Nomius's capacity to survive near the poisoned tentacles of the man-of-war is only partly due to the resilience of the toxin. The main reason for this skill is certain swimming behaviours. Instead of developing protective mucus, the fish depends on its swimming abilities as its main mechanism of defence, while living in the venomous discharge of the Physalia. The Nomius fish can manoeuvre with precision to avoid stinging nematocysts. This is the case whether the Physalia is stationary or in motion. Ray-finned fishes have a physiology which enables manoeuvrability. The fish displays relative ease in maintaining a safe distance from the dactylozooids, even with absurd, sharp changes in direction. Nomius specimens use the pectoral fins for propulsion, while the pelvic fins are spread like a fan. The caudal fin is apparently used only for short, fast darts. This swimming behaviour appears to be well suited for existence with Physalia. It is therefore apparent that rather than developing an ability to inhibit the discharge of Physalia nematocysts or prevent them from stinging, Nomius uses its swimming abilities as its primary means of defence while living in the venomous driftnet of Physalia. Taking into consideration all of the interactions involved in the symbiotic relationship of these two organisms, the appropriate term to assign is difficult. The facts state that commensalism of these two aquatic creatures is one which incorporates beneficial as well as harmful factors depending on the circumstance. It is this alternation of prey-predator roles of Physalia and Nomius that creates a definitive difficulty. Perhaps the best term we can apply for the moment is that of commensalism, given that both animals receive some benefit at various times during the relationship.
Hello there, have a seat.
Thank you.
What is your name?
That is the reading using the audio from the website. So we'll just stop that. And now, members, we'll read the passage together in a little bit more detail, and I'm going to explain it a bit more and give you some strategies as we go along. But for this, I'm going to ask you to volunteer and read, and then we'll discuss each paragraph. Now, as we get into that, so as we get into volunteering, Summarize the entire passage for me. So this is a good exercise that you should always do when you read a passage at home. Okay, so this is at home study. This is a step 4 here. At home, when preparing for IELTS, after you read a passage, and this is sometimes a question in the passage, especially for part 3 or a passage 3. Okay, so at home, when preparing for IELTS, after you read a passage, always ask yourself, what is the main purpose or information of this reading? And answer in 2 sentences or less. So here, the example, everybody, before we do the reading together on the website, what is the main information of this passage in 1 or 2 sentences? Okay, how would you summarize that? Excuse me. So how would you summarize the main information of this passage? If somebody says, summarize this, excuse me, in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say? What did we just read? Okay, or what did we just hear and read? Thank you, Fuang. Okay. So what is the main concept? You can think about it that way. Presented in this reading about physalis, something like that. Okay, good. Yeah, so Hauthu says relationship between 2 creatures. Very good. Hauthu says the answer is, it is the relationship between 2 creatures. A jelly fish like polyp and a fish, right? That's the simplest. So hopefully everybody got that. So that was the main concept. It is the relationship between 2 creatures, a jellyfish like polyp and a fish, right? Yeah, very good, Nat. Good. I'm seeing a lot of those answers. It's very nice. Excellent. Everybody gets that double thumbs up this morning. That's fantastic. Okay. Domenico, good luck on the IELTS exam today. Okay. Nice. Getting a haircut, looking all good. Yeah, just be calm, be yourself, do your best. Absolutely. Okay, everybody. So good, you got that. Well, let's go back to the website. So again, this is aehelp.com. We're going to use a different function of the website. We're going to use the student partner speaking. And I will ask for people to volunteer and read this passage, and then we'll just have a short Q&A or discussion about each paragraph so that we can answer the questions effectively. The multiple choice, fill in the blanks, true, false, not given. Carolina has put the instructions into the chat. Basically, you go to the website, you click on the student partner speaking, make sure that it's working on your end, okay? And then you'll see lots of students in here, premium students, and you'll see members as well. Okay, that's great. Let's start with Thu today. Thu, I want to be the first one. We're on the same page, Thu. Are you ready? Okay, so hopefully Thu is ready here. We've got lots of volunteers. That is fantastic. Okay, so Thu, just give me a sign back that you're there. You're ready? Yes? Okay, let's do it. Hi, Thu.
Hello, sir.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm also doing fantastic. Thu, thank you for being my first volunteer. It's good to have you here with me. So what we'll do is we'll read the introductory paragraph, which is probably the most important paragraph of any essay. And so in just a moment, you're going to see the passage on the screen. When you see the passage, just read the title and then start reading, and I'll move everything up as you read, okay?
Okay. Physalia physalis. Physalia physalis, common name, Portuguese metaphor, is a unique species of class Hydrozoa. Several characteristics distinguish the species. The Physalia physalis is a free-floating communal polyp. Its powerful poison serves as defense and attack for species. One tigerfish, however, has developed a high level of immunity to this toxin. The Nomias grovi is capable of withstanding injections of Physalia venom in 10 times the normal length of that, which kills other fishes. Due to the resistance to the venom, the exceptional swimming, the two organisms have evolved to form a commensal relationship with one another. Even though we apply the term commensalism to the symbiosis between these two animals, the creature interaction is not exactly fitting of the terms as defined by Campbell and Rees. The commensalism is when one organism receives benefits while neither harming nor hurting the other in any significant way. By looking closely at the behavior, physiology, and symbiosis between the Physalia physalis and Nomias grandi, we find out that the reason for this misleading
Very nice.
terminology.
Thu, that's great. That was great reading. Okay, Thu, here is the good news. So your reading, your speed, your ability, your pronunciation with the reading, with this new information, lots of new words, right? Your fluency for reading is absolutely good enough to get a band 7, 8, or even a 9, okay? So you don't have to learn to read faster to get a high band score or to read better. The goal is to just very clearly understand as much of this information as possible. So let's talk about this introduction a little bit. It's quite important. So here the introduction introduces these two organisms, right? This Physalia physalis and the Nomias grandi, right? So that's what it does. It goes, hey, here are these two organisms and there's a relationship between these, okay? And I think you got that, and a lot of other students got that as well. Okay, now in the introduction, there is one very, very important sentence. What is the very, very important sentence of the introductory paragraph? And this is important when you're writing an essay to know this also. What's the most important sentence in the passage or in the introductory paragraph? What is it called?
I think it's a thesis.
That's right, it is. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, very smart, Thu. Nice. So, tip, everybody, pay special attention to the thesis. What's the thesis sentence of this introductory paragraph?
The last sentence.
Yeah, exactly, it is. It's not always. In some rare cases, it's not, but most of the time, 95% of the time, it's going to be the last sentence or the last two sentences. Okay, Thu, can you read it? Can you read that last sentence?
Okay. By looking closely at the behavior, physiology, and symbiosis between Physalia physalis and Nomias grandi, we find out that the reason for this misleading terminology.
Okay, good. So Thu, can you tell everybody, because not everybody knows this, okay? Especially students that haven't done university yet necessarily, they might not know this. So can you tell everybody why that's such an important sentence?
Because in the next paragraph, they will introduce the reason of this essay.
Yeah, exactly, Thu. Or said another way, the thesis tells the reader about the structure and content of the essay, right? So what that means is that here, when we look at this thesis statement, by looking closely at the behavior, we can assume that in the first 1 or 2 paragraphs, they're going to talk about behaviors of these creatures. They're going to talk about the physiology of these creatures, and then maybe in the middle of the essay, they're going to talk about the symbiosis between these 2 creatures. And then maybe later on, they're going to talk about why this terminology is misleading between these 2 creatures, right? So a good essay will usually follow that structure. And then, sure enough, we see that, right? So if we jump to the next paragraph, right away we can see the physiology of the physalis is unique, right? So right away we can see that, oh, it's exactly what the thesis is kind of starting with, right? So when students are doing skimming or scanning for information, one quick index or reference point where you're like, oh, I need to remember where I can find this and I kind of forgot. If you look at the thesis, you can kind of figure out from the thesis where you can maybe find that information in the passage very quickly. Does that make sense, Thu?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the other aspect of this, right, and I'm sure you thought about this and a lot of people are thinking about this, is, oh my, there's so many weird words and so many strange words in this passage. What's going on, right? Don't worry about it, right? So just do your best. You did just that. So just do your best trying to read them. Don't stop. Don't try to figure out the pronunciation. Just read through them. Focus on the words that you know. And I think you did a really good job of that, Thu, especially once you read the first 2 sentences. You started to get comfortable and you realized, okay, I just need to focus on the words that I know, read those really clearly, and then just kind of read through these new words. And that's exactly the right way to do it, Thu. So that was really smart. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thu, do you have any questions about the reading section?
Question.
You're like, do I? I don't know. If you don't, it's okay. Just giving you a chance since you're here with me if you have one.
Okay. But I think it's not now.
Sure. Yep. If you have one later, just ask in the chat. But we're always here. So if questions pop up, just ask them. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you for volunteering, Thu. Hang in there. We'll go through the rest of the passage and then we'll answer the questions too. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Bye,
Thank
Thu.
you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. All right. That was Thu. Really good. Thumbs up for Thu for being the first volunteer. That was really good. Okay. Let's give Anna a chance here. Anna, are you ready? Sure. Okay. And some of you might be thinking, wow, really? IELTS has passages like this that are this challenging? Yes, it does. So for those of you who have sat the IELTS, many of you, the academic IELTS, you know that, yeah, passage 3, I've seen 1 or 2 like that where it's very kind of scientific and it's kind of like a first year. By the way, this passage is literally taken out of a first year biology course. So this is a first year biology passage. So yes, it is. Okay.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well today.
Good. Are you ready for some reading?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready for reading.
Okay. I'll bring up the first body paragraph here. You're going to see it appear on your screen in just a moment. So whenever you're ready, just start reading. And as Thu did, which was really smart, when you get to these trickier words, these are some of these words are Latin. Obviously, they're biology. So you just kind of pronounce them however you think and not worry about it and then keep going, right? Okay.
Sure, yes. The physiology of Physalia phylacys is unique. At first glance, they appear to be jellyfish, but the Portuguese man of war is actually of polyp or a community of polyps. Can you
Yeah,
scroll?
it's coming. It'll be a couple seconds.
Okay, belonging to the order Siphonophia, which gets its common name from its resemblance to an old Portuguese warship. The man of war floats with a gas-filled blue to pink trans, translu, translucent body called pneumatophore, a part of a single polyp. This crest-like pneumatophore, which may attain a length of 20 centimeters, acts as a cell and is aligned so that to colony cells at 45 degrees to the one direction. Polyps connect tentacles which are located on the ventral surfaces of the float. There are three types of specialized polyps. First, it's dactylozood that find and catch prey with poisonous stingers called nematococcus, gonozoid that reproduce, and gastrozoid that digest and the food like a stomach. These efficient tentacles, sometimes as long as 50 meters, hang down like a drift net, combine the water for prey.
All right, good. Anna, good. Challenging read, right?
Yeah, lots of challenging
Lots of challenging words.
terminology.
Yes, just repeat this word after me. Aligned.
Aligned.
Now repeat this word after me. Combing.
Colony.
No B. Combing.
Combing.
Yeah, the B is silent. Combing. Yeah.
Combing.
And here the G is silent. Aligned. So those are sometimes the tricky words in English where you have these weird letters that shouldn't be there, right? Like, why did you guys put a G in? Why did you put a G in there?
I will read the transcription later.
Yeah.
Like transcript later.
Yeah, and this is where that reading audio from the website is really useful. So it's good to use that reading audio off the website, read the passage with the British reader a couple of times, and then read it by yourself again so you get the pronunciation of a lot of these academic type words that you see in academic reading, okay? Absolutely. And it's an important tip for everybody who is planning to do bachelor, master's, PhD in English programs, whether that's in an English country or in a non-English country, because you have to communicate with these words in your academic circle, right? So it's good to get the hang of them, and it's not too bad. All right. So let's talk about this paragraph just for a moment. What is this paragraph mainly about?
Well, in my opinion, this paragraph is about this polypus, how it looks like, special type of jellyfish, and secondly, it gives us a description of how these tentacles are long and how its body is constructed as well, like about the constitutions.
Now, Anna, simple, right? So always when you're doing this kind of Q&A, especially if you're working with a partner and to study the reading, then just keep it really simple. So your start was enough. You're like, okay, it's about basically the physiology of this special kind of jellyfish. And very importantly, you need to understand that it's not actually just one type of polyp. So it's a polyp. It's not a jellyfish. It's a polyp, and it's three types working together, right? So in a strange way, we're actually reading about four creatures in this passage. One is the fish, and three are these three different kind of polyps that kind of melt together like a chimera, and they live together, right? And when you're reading this kind of passage, and of course I'm telling you, Anna, but I'm telling everybody this, right? What you should do at home when you're reading this at home, right? What you should do when you read a paragraph like this is read it really carefully, and then when you read something like this, so it says, okay, the man of war floats with a gas-filled blue to pink translucent body called a pneumatophore, a part of a single polyp. So maybe draw it, right? Okay, there's this kind of like balloon, okay, that's floating, right? And then it says, okay, there are tentacles that hang down that are poisonous, right? They're deadly, and they catch the fish or whatever it's hunting in the water, right? 50 meters. You're at 50 centimeters, and then you realize, wow, it's not 50 centimeters, it's 50 meters, right?
50 meters, yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. It's so long, right?
Quite long, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and then,
long enough.
yeah, it's kind of scary, right? You can be really deep in the water, and these things are still just kind of dangling there. Ugh.
I imagine like if like if people will be swimming around it, it can be caught, but it's
Yeah, they're
quite
big.
easily. Like tentacles.
And then there's a third piece that kind of, it's like a stomach, right? Where it will catch and hold the fish that it's eating, right? So what you want to do is just like what I did, you want to kind of draw the picture of what you're seeing, right? So you can figure it out. And you might even label it. So you might say, okay, these are the gonozoids. So just like in a biology class, in university, you might do little labels of what's what, right? So you're training your brain to visually see and understand information, and that's a really good exercise. People are often in a rush these days, and they don't take these extra steps to have their brain work efficiently. And this is where we have this kind of saying in English that slower is faster. Have you ever heard that saying, Anna?
Yeah.
Slower is faster, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes when we're rushing, we're just missing important details and information.
Yeah, sometimes I catch this if I rush in the reading. Sometimes my answer is incorrect when I'm trying to like.
I think what you just said there, Anna, is maybe the biggest and most common problem for IELTS students, especially in the real exam. Because in the real exam, they know that they have about 20 minutes for the passage. So they're really rushing, and they're skimming and scanning and rushing through the passage, rushing through the questions. And the irony is that what happens to a lot of students is they read the same information 10 times and don't understand it even once, because every time they read it, it's too fast. They're not paying attention. They're not actually seeing it. And it's better to just go slower. Read it 2 times, but understand it, right?
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
Okay, Anna, we've got a good number of paragraphs here, so I'm going to get you to read one more here. You're going to see Namias Granvi come up here, the
Yeah.
next body paragraph. Go for it. Read that one as well.
Numerous gronvi are tropical fish belonging to the ray finned fishes of the class Otaceae. I don't know how to read.
Keep going.
The fin is supported by long flexible rays, are modified for maneuvering, defense, and other functions. The length of this fish at maturity is about 8 centimeters. The nature of ability of venomous to live among the venomous tentacles of Physalia has been linked to that of the relationship between sea anemones and anemones fish. This immunity is not yet fully understood.
Okay, good.
Quite interesting.
Yeah. While you were doing that, I was kind of trying to draw this Nambius granvi biologically, 8 centimeters. There's the poisonous tentacles. So again, I'm seeing this, right? Yeah, absolutely. Good. good. That was good reading. So same idea. So here we had first the physiology of the jellyfish or the group of polyps. Now we had the physiology of the fish. So now probably we're going to read about their behaviors and their relationship according to the thesis, which Thu read, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Probably like it's his skin has some like protection which doesn't react to these tentacles. I think
Yes
so.
and no. It could be. But in this case, it's not actually quite true. So you always do have to be careful not to give too much of your own assumptions to the information. That can be dangerous too. So thank you for mentioning that, Anna, because that is another one of the dangers that happens in the IELTS, where people will give too much of their own ideas to the passage. And then when they get to the questions, they'll make mistakes because the answers are actually coming from their own assumptions or ideas rather than the text. So you have to be careful
especially
about
true
that.
false not given. About true false not given, I had like when when I practice at home, I had very famous text, and I really know this information, but it was not given, and I answered true because I know, and like I I put my ideas on the paper, like not this mentioned in the text.
Yeah, you have
This
to be
idea needs to be
very
based on
careful. Yeah,
text.
exactly. That's a very good example, Anna. That's a perfect example of where that happens, right? So you have to be extremely careful about that, and that's the same in university, right? Because that's the reason IELTS has that, because in university or college, professors and teachers always tell the students, be careful not to make assumptions. Assumptions are the foundation for mistakes, so we have to be careful with that. Okay, Anna, thank you so much. Hang in there. We're going to read the rest. We're going to get to the questions, okay?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Bye, Anna. All right, Anna is gone. Okay, we haven't heard from, let's see who else is volunteering here. We've got a good number here. Let's check in with Dia. I'm not sure if Dia has had a chance yet, so are you ready, Dia? Okay, keep volunteering, everybody. We've got more paragraphs and more questions coming up, and we're going to move through them nice and steady here. So good job, Anna. And as you can tell, we're learning lots from each other about what to do and what not to do in these IELTS reading passages. So visualize, picture, but careful not to include too much of your own concepts. Okay? All right. Dia. Hello, Dia.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. My morning coffee is starting to really kick in, so I'm doing great. Dia, it's great to have you here. I think this is your first time volunteering, right?
Repeat that again, please.
Is this your first time volunteering?
Yeah, this is my first time.
Brilliant. That's great. Where are you?
I am in Saudi Arabia.
You're in Saudi Arabia. Riyadh, Jeddah, Mecca?
In Riyadh, the capital city.
In Riyadh, yes. Awesome. Okay, I've had many awesome students from there, so happy to have you with me. Okay, let's do this. So I'm going to get you to read a little bit, and then we'll talk about it. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, you'll see the text on the screen here in just a moment. So just start with the relationship between Physalia.
Okay. The relationship between Physalia and Numius is arguably harmful to both organisms. They mutually benefit from one another, but I can't hear you now.
Yeah, it's here, but at the same time, I'm just listening to you read. Yeah, just keep reading.
Okay, but at the same time, the symbiosis can be quite damaging to both creatures. In this sense, the relationship could be better defined as one of mutualism and parasitism. In mutualism, both organisms benefit. In parasitism, one organism benefits at the expense of the host. When the nomeus
Okay,
is weak, it
let's stop. Oh, breaks, breaks. Okay, before you
Okay.
go to the next paragraph, and this is a really important tip. Okay, so before you
Okay.
go to the next paragraph, always stop for a second and think. Okay, what was this paragraph about just now? Right. So this shorter paragraph, what was it about? What was the main point here? So what is the main idea of this paragraph that you just read?
it was a relationship between two creatures, and
What is it?
they have mutual benefits, and they have damaging futures.
Exactly. Okay. So now always when you have these ideas, so that's the right idea. It's perfect. Okay. Now you want to just simplify it. The positive and negative relationship between this fish and jellyfish, right? So positive and negative relationship between these two creatures. Sure. Okay. And even see it in your head. So be visual, okay? So what you want to see is maybe you want to see this fish here, and you want to see this kind of jellyfish, and with one hand they're shaking hands, so they're like, hi my friend, and with the other hand they've got a knife, and he's stabbing the fish, and the fish with the other hand is stabbing the jellyfish, right? So they've got this kind of weird relationship where it's like a hello and a slap on the back kind of thing. Okay, so you want to see that. All right. And you might think, hey, that's kind of silly, Adrian. Why would I want to picture a jellyfish shaking hands with a fish and then stabbing each other with a knife? Because then your brain goes, oh, that's interesting. Let me try to understand it. Okay. So one of the big issues with the IELTS when people are practicing IELTS or when they're doing the IELTS exam is they're not interested. They don't care. They're like, I don't care about this jellyfish. I don't care about this fish. Who cares? If you think about it that way, then your brain is going to ignore the information, and it's not going to remember the information when you try to answer the questions. So anytime you're reading, you have to make it interesting for yourself. And that's true for IELTS. It's also true for university classes. It's not always interesting what you read or what you listen to. So it's your job to make it interesting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Right? Okay. Read one more paragraph for me. So now the one that you started, when the nomeus is weak.
When the nomeus is weak, it may no longer be able to withstand the venom of the nematocysts in one study. A freshly expired nomeus was offered to the Physalia. The carcass was immediately stung, taken hold of by dictylozoid and brought up to the gastrozoids. The nomeus, although resilient to the toxin, is not 100% immune. In the same study, the live nomeus began to swim more erratically and moved towards the carcass as the gastrozoids formed their characteristic bag and began to digest the fish. The live nomeus was then caught on the left side by one of the largest dictylozoids. This behavior clearly indicates how the symbioses may deviate from the definition provided by commensalims.
Good. Okay, great. And you're reading through some of those words that are tricky to pronounce, okay? Now, here, when you're reading this word in its adjective form, it's live, the live nomeus, okay? Not live,
Okay,
live,
yeah. Okay.
right? Because it's an adjective form, not the verb form. We live here, it's a live fish, okay? So adjective, live, verb, live, okay?
Okay.
Same spelling, so it's tricky. So you have to figure out, okay, that's an adjective because it has the before it and a noun after. So it's going to be an adjective, right? So pay attention to that. Okay, that was really good. In a nutshell, what was this paragraph about?
Okay, it was about some of the features of this creature, and it was that it is indicate that this creature is 100% is not 100% immune, but he has resilient to the toxin.
Very good. Now,
And
wait. Let's slow down. So you're going into a lot of details, right? When you find yourself going into a lot of details, you have to start thinking, okay, I'm not really focusing on what it's about. I'm focusing on the details, which is good. That's okay. But you always want to make sure that you have the main idea. So here, it's about the relationship, right? And and here it gives you a study. So it says in the same study. So it's actually talking about a study, like a research experiment in this paragraph that showed this relationship where they kind of help and hurt each other, right? So that's what this paragraph is about this study. And then the details are what you were saying, that it's not fully immune. It does get eaten if it's not careful and so on. Okay. So you've got good English skills. I can tell, Dia, that you have some great vocabulary. I have a feeling you spend more time speaking and listening to English than reading and writing. And that's very common for many of my Arabic students. So many of my students from Saudi Arabia, it was the same scenario where they're really strong at speaking and listening, but not as strong in the reading and writing. And the simple reason is they just spend more time speaking, listening than reading or writing. So make sure that you balance those two. Okay, so if you're not spending a lot of time reading and writing, try to really spend more time reading every day and writing every day, like doing out loud reading like this. Okay.
Okay.
Right? Do you have any like little nieces or nephews that you can read English books to?
I usually read English on the BBC News.
Okay. Those are short readings. So what you want to do is you definitely want to find a book to read, and even just a good place to start is a storybook, like, and not a 2-page, but like a 30, 40, 50-page storybook. And at nighttime, read it for one of your nieces or nephews. They will enjoy it, they will learn it, and they're learning English and you're improving your reading. It's just kind of a fun way to improve the fluency. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. That was great reading, and thank you for volunteering. Come back and volunteer again, okay? Volunteer for some speaking tomorrow, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, bye, Dia. All right, that was Dia. Let's give him a thumbs up. That was the first time volunteering. That was really good. Okay, let's take one of our regular students. Tatiana, are you ready? Okay. We've got more volunteers, which is really nice. Tatiana, if you're still hanging in there, give me a sign. Here we go. Hi, Tatiana.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. Alive and kicking.
Okay, all right. Okay, Tatiana, well, some fun late night activity, reading about some biology.
Yes, I'm fully aware.
Yes, some, what is it? It's not ocean biology, it's a different term. I'll remember it in a second here, but there's a specific class of biology that deals with the oceans. So
yeah, we used to do this text, I do remember.
Yeah,
it was some time ago.
Yeah, it's aquatic biology. That's right. Yeah, we've looked at these. I mean, we have, I think we have like 30 or something readings on the website that we developed, which are like the IELTS readings. And it's good to revisit. So before you read this paragraph, Tatiana, that was a good point. You said, I think some time ago we did this. One of the mistakes a lot of students make when they're preparing for the IELTS exam is they're always looking for new material. So they never go back and read the same passage again, which is a really bad idea. Okay, it's not an effective way of studying. So a lot of people think, oh, I already read that. It's not going to help me. Or it's boring. I don't want to read it a second time because it's going to be boring. But that's the wrong attitude. For effective learning, it's a really good idea to go back and read the same passage a second or even a third time, especially if it was a challenging passage with difficult terminology. So we learn through feedback and repetition, right? So that's a really important point.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially in today's world, because of all the social media and information, we tend to look at information only once, like everything just once, right? Yeah, it's a weird world that we're living in, but it's not ideal. It's not the best system for the brain. The brain works better when it goes back and sees the same ideas again and again. Okay, with that important note, Tatiana, when you're ready, read from On the Other Hand.
Ready? On the other hand, the nomius has two distinct gains from its innate behavior with Physalia. As an experiment demonstrated, upon introduction, the nomius initially swam near the surface and around the Physalia in a large circular pattern in both clockwise and counterclockwise directions. This action protects the fish from attack. Most predatory fishes of nomius, therefore, avoid the man of war or sustain serious injury and often death. Second, the Physalia provides a food source for the nomius. In the mentioned experiment, about 15 minutes after the release, the nomius swam closer to the Physalia, posed as if inspecting it, and then began to nip the edges of the gonozoids. Physalia is able to regenerate their tentacles, and so this ingestion is rarely fatal to the organism.
Okay, good. So I was kind of trying to draw at the same time while you were reading. By the way, if you're ever finding yourself working in partners, while one person is reading, the other person can draw. So they can draw the fish eating this jellyfish, for example, right? Just to see what kind of drawings appear, like little stickman drawings.
The proportion should be much bigger. Physalia has 50 meters tentacles.
It won't fit on the screen.
8 centimeters.
Tatiana, I can't fit that on the screen. I can't draw you a 50-meter tentacle. All right, keep reading.
What a pity.
Right? Tatiana, keep reading. Nomius's capacity to survive.
Nomius's capacity to survive near the poison tentacles of the man of war is only partly due to the resilience of the toxin. The main reason for this skill is certain swimming behaviors. Instead of developing protective mucus, the fish depends on its swimming abilities as its main mechanism of defense, while living in the venomous discharge of the Physalia. The nomius fish can maneuver with precision to avoid stinging nematocysts. This is the case where the Physalia is stationary or in motion. Ray-finned fishes have a physiology which enables maneuverability. The fish displays relative ease in maintaining a safe distance from the dactylozoids, even with absurd, sharp changes in direction. Nomius specimens use the pectoral fins for propulsion, while the pelvic fins are spread like a fan. The caudal fin is apparently used for only short, fast darts. The swimming behavior appears to be well suited for existence with Physalia. It is therefore apparent that rather than developing an ability to inhibit the discharge of Physalia nematocysts, or prevent them from stinging, Nomius uses its swimming abilities as its primary means of defense while living in the venomous drift net of Physalia.
Okay, very nice, right? So, good. Now, just a quick FYI. FYI means for your
information.
Exactly, Tatiana. So we're reading, obviously, a bit of biology, zoology here, right? For those students who are looking to take the academic IELTS, keep in mind that there are a lot of healthcare professionals who take the IELTS exam, nurses and doctors, or people learning to be nurses and doctors. So I would definitely say that from my experience over the years, topics that are on biology, anatomy, physiology, human behavior, so those topics that are related to the practice of medicine, nursing, doctors, often appear in the academic IELTS as one of the reading passages or one of the listening aspects, listening parts as well. So keep that in mind. So for those of you preparing, definitely read a good number of this kind of text. Okay, Tatiana?
Definitely. Yeah. I have a few student doctors. Today we've read an article about a new drug against obesity.
Exactly. So whether it's plant or animal biology like this one, or pharmacology, so the application of medicines, vaccines, these topics are quite popular in the IELTS for obvious reasons, right? Okay, keep reading. Finish off this this reading passage for me, Tatiana. So taking into consideration.
Taking into consideration all of the interactions involved in the symbiotic relationship of these two organisms, the appropriate terms to assign is difficult. The facts state that the commensalism of these two aquatic creatures is one of the facts state that the commensalism of these two aquatic creatures is one which incorporates beneficial as well as harmful factors depending on the circumstance. It is the alteration of prey-predator roles of Physalia and Nomius that creates a definitive difficulty. Perhaps the best term we can apply for the moment is that of commensalism, given that both animals receive some benefit at varying times during the relationship.
Nice. So this is the conclusion. Arguably the conclusion is the second most important paragraph of an essay after the introduction, because it summarizes the main concept, point, idea of the passage. It also sends the reader away with kind of a important thought or an important message, an important wisdom. What is that in this case? So what is the wisdom that this author leaves the reader with, Tatiana? What is the final message of this conclusion or this passage?
As long as both creatures benefit from each other, its relationship is commensalism.
Yeah,
can
exactly.
be called commensalism.
So as long as both creatures benefit at some point in
at
their
some
lives,
point, to some extent.
The best term is commensalism, like humans, right? We're in commensal relationships.
Your picture was the best illustration for that.
With the knife.
One hand is given, the other is hitting.
Right. And that's why. So again, remember what I said, everybody, at the beginning, right? Humans are very egocentric. So we see the world from our own eyes and for our own eyes. And that's why this indirectly reflects humanity in a lot of ways. Tatiana, that was really good. Thank you so much for finishing off the passage. Hang in there. We're going to do the questions now, and we'll find somebody else to help us with that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
Thanks.
here. Bye.
Thanks, Tatiana. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. I have to reload the page. I think a lot of us have pinged it, so I'm just going to reload here. Pop back in and volunteer. Maya, if you're there, I know the only way that you're able to connect with me is if you call me. So you can do that right now, Maya, and help me out with the first few questions. So you can call me if you would like to help with questions. Okay, there you are. Good, you're listening. Hi, Maya. Hi, Maya.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi. You heard me, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, Maya, so you can help me with some of these questions?
Okay, let's try.
All right. Let's do, Maya. Let's do. We will not try. We will do. Right.
Oh, there are a lot of unfamiliar words for me, so.
That's okay. Now, here's the interesting part. And, I like how you said that. So Maya just said, there were so many difficult words for me. So I'm a little bit, you're a little bit like apprehensive. Here's an interesting thought for everybody. Even when the IELTS passage seems really difficult with lots of difficult words, okay, the questions are usually not so bad. So the question difficulty is more like high school, like grade 10 or grade 11. It's not, these questions are not university level difficulty. So they're not going to ask you like a very conceptual or abstract form of the ideas like they do in university. They're going to ask you a little bit more directly the questions like what do you call the part of the animal that has poison or that's venomous? So it's going to be more like kind of like a high school question. So even when it's tricky, don't panic. The questions are not that bad. Does that make sense, Maya?
Yes.
Okay, so in university though, yes, they will be more difficult. Okay, and you don't see the text, you have to read it at home. So here we go. Maya, read 27 for us.
The Portuguese man of wars acts as both as a defense and attack mechanism.
Okay, what do you think? What word goes in there? The Portuguese man of war, so this is the jellyfish, right? Something, so it's a noun, something acts as both a defense, so protection, and an attack, so to attack another animal. What is that? What do you think is the word that goes there? I'll give you a hint. You know the word.
Must be, maybe behavior, act.
What can be used both for attacking and for defending? Maybe somebody in the chat can help you as well. I think Anahita is trying to help you in the chat.
Anahita said venom.
Yeah, the venom. That's right, the poison, right? So keep it simple. You could use poison here or you could use venom. Both of them are okay because both are mentioned in the passage. So, and there's perfect synonyms. So poison or venom. Ghazi, by the way, in the chat, it's not ocean biology. I was looking for marine biology. So the study of ocean creatures. This is marine biology. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Marine biology. Okay, it's the study of ocean life. Study of ocean life. So this is kind of marine biology. That's what Domenico studies, but he's in his exam right now. Okay. All right. Keep helping me here, Maya. So keep in mind, simple, right? This is what I said. So the answers are not as tricky as you think. You don't need a really complicated word here from the passage. You just need a poison or venom. Okay. Number 28. Go ahead and read that one.
Nomius has something to the man of war's attack.
Immunity?
Immunity, yes.
Is it though? Is it 100% immune? So, okay, the first word that came to your mind is...
System?
Just a sec. Yeah, Maya, you're right. Okay, but just a sec. So first you said immunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then second you said... What was the second word that you just said?
Immune system, yes.
No, not immune system. There was another... I thought you said it. Maybe you didn't. It's not completely immune though, right? It's not 100% immune. So it's not immune. And you have to be careful here because immunity means that we're completely safe, but the non-obvious is not completely safe. And the passage says that a couple of times, right? That it doesn't have 100% immunity to the man-of-war's attack. Instead, what does it have? It has...
Couple.
Again, if you're having the difficulty, you can look at the chat because there's going to be a student or two that's going to give you the answer.
Resistance.
It is resistance. Yes. So this is a bit of a tricky one here. You know, somebody might search or skim or scan for a long time and still not get this answer. The best way to get this answer, the correct answer, is by understanding the passage. So here you have to understand in the passage that this fish is not really immune. It says in the passage it has some immunity. Okay. Now, if you wrote some immunity, and because it says 2 words, they will probably give you that answer. So this is where it's a little bit tricky, a little bit subjective, and they do mark carefully in the IELTS for that. So if you wrote some immunity, they would probably give you the answer. If you wrote just immunity, they would not give you the answer because that's actually a wrong answer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is that trickier band 8, band 9 level question. So here the answer is resistance. Okay. It was a bit of a trickier one. Now, in a perfect world, Maya, when you're sitting the IELTS exam, these first 2 questions, 27 and 28, you're not searching the passage for the answer. These answers should come from understanding the passage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. It would take a lot of time and unnecessary time to try to figure these out. Okay, 29. Try to read that one.
Nomios is also very competent, something which helps keep it safe from the man of war.
Okay, so Nomius is the fish, man of war is the
Competent
jellyfish.
Creature?
What does the word competent mean?
I don't know.
Aha. What do you think it might mean?
Like competitive?
Not competitive.
Or double or something?
Able. Yes, it means able. So Nomius is also a very able or skillful. Okay, capable. You can think of the word capable. Okay. Now what do you think it means?
It's also very able.
What is this fish really good at, according to this passage? Again, this is an answer that you shouldn't have to search for. You should be, because they're probably not going to use the word competent. So here, Maya, a lot of people would think, oh, maybe I'll just search for the word competent, like I'll skim read for competent. But the problem is that in the IELTS, that word will likely not appear or not appear in the correct location. So in the passage, they'll probably use something like the non-obvious is a very skillful or a very capable.
It's maybe fast swimmer or something.
Keep it simple. Just swimmer. Yeah.
Swimmer.
Okay.
Competent swimmer.
Yeah, it's a very competent swimmer. It means that it's good at swimming. It's a very competent swimmer. Okay. So again, this comes from the passage. So far, 27, 28, 29, they're not really answers that anybody should be searching for. They have to come from comprehension. If you're not comprehending it, you have to think, why am I not comprehending this, right? Let's try more, Maya. It's okay. I know it's a little, remember it's passage 3. It's going to be a bit more challenging, but that's why I'm here to help you a little bit.
Yeah, I've joined a little bit late.
Yeah.
So I have some difficulty with internet.
Yeah, that can be a challenge too. But like I said, it's also a challenging passage. So let's leave the other 3 for students to figure out on their own. Let's jump to a multiple choice. So read number 37 for me.
37. The nomios main mechanism is defense. Of defense is
okay. Answer. No. Stop reading the answers. Stop reading the answers. Okay. So I'm going to give you a hint for multiple choice. You made the most common mistake of students right away. Okay. The most common mistake of students, Maya, is they start reading the answers. Okay. So they read the question for multiple choice, and their first instinct, their first reaction is, oh, read the answers or read the choices, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the absolute wrong strategy for multiple choice, especially at the university level where you have multiple answers that can be correct and you have to choose the best answer. Okay, so it's very dangerous to read the choices when there could be multiple correct answers and you have to choose the best answer. So don't do that, Maya. Even in the IELTS, don't do that. What you should do with multiple choice is think about the answer on your own first, okay? Then look at the choices. It's a very important tip, everybody, okay? So read 37 again, just the question.
The nomel's main mechanism of defense is...
Now, answer it on your own. What's the fish's main mechanism of defense?
Fish good at swimming.
Very nice. Love it, Maya. Love it. Okay. Give you a hug right now. So good at swimming. Okay. That's your own answer, right? That's your best answer. That's coming from your brain and your own understanding, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. So now that you have your own idea, now look at the answers.
Is C, swimming behaviors.
Yeah, absolutely. So your answer and the choice answer is there. When your answer and the choice answer are matching, that's a very strong sign that you have the correct answer. One of the big problems with multiple choice is students are often like, I'm not sure. I don't know if I picked the right one. That's because they never tried to answer on their own first. When you answer on your own first and then pick the correct match, you're much more confident in your answers, okay?
Well, what if there's no answer in our head?
Good. That's a problem. Okay. So that means that you probably didn't understand the passage well enough. That's also good information because then you know that, uh-oh, I missed some important information in this passage. And that's when you should be thinking, okay, this is an answer I'm going to have to confirm in the passage. So I can't just choose the answer and comfortably say, hey, that's probably the answer. But I'm going to have to make sure that that's the answer. And after I chose the one I think is correct, I have to go back to the passage and confirm the answer. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
So that's also very valuable when you realize. Now, there's another situation, Maya, that happens. Okay. So there's the situation where you know the answer and it matches, and that's the best one. That's where you're like, woohoo. Okay, that was my idea. That's in the answers. That's the right answer. Perfect. Let's go. There's the other situation that you just said, I have no idea. Uh-oh, right? That's a bad situation. There's also another bad situation, Maya, that happens where you give an answer. You say the Nomius's main mechanism of defense is it's a huge fish or its size, right? And then you read it and it says venom, protective mucus, swimming behaviors, being able to, and there's nothing there about size. And you're like, uh-oh, there's nothing there that's like my answer, right?
Yes. Yeah, I always going back to
That's
reread, so it's
also a problem. Yeah, that takes a lot of time, and that's also a problem because it means that you're off topic or you understood the passage wrong. So then if you have the wrong answer, like your answer isn't in the choices, the next step is read the question again. Maybe you missed something important in the question. Okay? And then go back and check. Okay, so there's some very clear strategies for multiple choice, Maya, and it's important to follow those. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But always think about your own answer first for multiple choice. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Maya, thank you so much for volunteering, and you helped me to explain some very important points to our viewers today. So I really appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you, Adrian.
Okay.
Thank you for teaching us. Bye.
You're very welcome. Bye. All right, everybody. So that's a bit about the multiple choice there. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. But again, students, a lot of what I'm telling you, it's on the web page. You can practice it there as well. It's in our videos. There's these couple of true, false, not givens. I'll let you figure out the rest of the answers using these strategies. There's a really great video for true, false, not given on YouTube and on the website as well. I have to start preparing myself for our next class, which is coming up in 27 minutes, which will be the listening section. So first of all, a big shout out and thank you to all of the volunteers in this class. Remember, go to aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Carolina, thank you so much for moderating. Remember, everybody, you can purchase our courses through YouTube, through Shopify, as well as the websites. So this is the academic website that we were using here for the reading today and for the student interactions. You can join it by clicking the big red button that's just right above my head. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. For general IELTS students, it's gieltshelp.com. Reading section 1 and 2 are definitely very different in the general, but reading section 3 is quite similar to the academic. The listening section that's coming up after in 25 minutes is the same for academic in general. So in 25 minutes, we'll do listening part 1 and 2 from one of our practice exams. And that chat will be for subscribers. So if you're a subscriber to our YouTube channel, which is free, of course, it's a good idea, then you will be able to join the chat. So again, check out aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. Everybody, send me those answers to my email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will send you back the answer key. Students, hang in there, come back, do some listening with me. I look forward to having all of you join the next class. Bye for now, everybody, and see you soon.